Hello, everybody. Hope you all are doing well. Welcome back to the Great Ace Attorney Chronicles. We are doing our second summation examination in this trial. So let us proceed. I have considered the defense counsel request for further summation examination of the jury. And I have determined that the court must uphold the defense's judicial's right to this procedure. So, counsel, you will now proceed with your second summation examination. I assume the jury is ready, Mr. Foreman. We are, my lord. Very good. In that case, I must ask each of you now to state clearly and concisely for the court the grounds on which you found the defendant guilty of this crime. Okay, judicial finding time. Jurors' contentions. The accused left behind the evidence at the scene, didn't he? Those 3 books of his. If there was some novel alternative explanation about how the victim was stabbed, I might reconsider. Even the woman was throwing books. It can't be related to this crime if the window was closed, can it? Dear me, it was only a little book. Hardly left threatening, even with a direct hit. Look, I just want to get this over with. If I don't bring home some pay tonight, I'll be in a tiny bit of trouble. They should get paid for the jury, I'm pretty sure. Unless this really is just a different time and no one gets paid. Got a cigarette? We had a fire at home a while ago. It gave me the sneezes. Yes. Considerably more tangible arguments from all members of the jury around this time, it seems. With one notable exception, of course. My learned student friend was unable to find fault in the previous witness testimony. So the court must accept the fact that it was indeed the accused seen fleeing from the scene. And moreover, no one else was even at the scene to commit the crime. Well, if the eyewitness are correct, it would seem as if the conclusion is somewhat set in stone. I fail to see how it can be argued with any other way. That means, I'm afraid that during this summation examination, it's essential that you establish some other tangible explanation for the facts. But how? What would even constitute a tangible explanation here? Isn't it obvious? Who stabbed the woman and how? Those 2 details are all you need to provide. Simply give us a name and a method by which the attack was conducted. And there I was thinking this might be hard. But Mr. Naruto, you have to do it, otherwise this really will be where the trial ends. No pressure then. That's quite enough preamble. Proceed with the summation examination, please. I presume you are prepared, counsel? Oh yes, my lord. All right, Ryunosuke. Focus your mind now. Clearly, the key to the summation examination is going to be juror number 4, the maid, or should I say Mrs. Garrett. We have a book that disappeared from the Garrett's house on the evening of the incident, and a 4th book found in the victim's hand. There must be a way to link the 2. Yes, that's what we have to find, using every technique I've learned in my short career so far, whatever it takes. Don't forget to keep an eye on Mrs. Garrett and how she reacts, even to the things other people say. Oh, gonna have a reaction in the court now. Oh, she needs to drink some water. The defense's rebuttal. The accused left behind evidence on scene, didn't he? Those 3 books of his. But as we know now, there were 4 books, not 3. Well, what difference does it make? There's every possibility that the 4th book, in fact, belongs to the defendant's landlord. Yes, but that's the part I have a problem with. Alright? Oh my goodness. Well, my Siri thought was doing a Google search for me. Or whatever search it did. Well, at the point of the woman was stabbed, this landlord was at home, wasn't he? Enjoying a fiery scrap with his wife or something, you said? That's not exactly how I put it, no. Well, anyway, the point is, the fellow and his wife were somewhere else when it happened. I think that's what you call a strong alibi. So it couldn't have been the landlord, did it? Which only leaves the Nibunese fellow. Obviously, I can't see what all this palaver is about. It's done deal, isn't it? I suppose it is, since I have nothing witty left to say. Well, I wasn't trying to excuse them. If there was some novel alternative explanation about how the victim was stabbed, I might reconsider. So, you might be willing to change your decision, you mean? Oh my, such a delight on your face. I'm afraid I shan't be swayed by emotions. Despite what you may think of me, I'm a very modern, metropolitan, and rational woman. That's great. If one reads the morning papers, it's all forgotten by tea time, isn't it? So why read them in the first place? You see, modern, metropolitan, and rational thinking, wouldn't you say? And not at all extreme. As I see it, the overwhelming suspicion Japanese man has been implicated by overwhelmingly strong testimony. So despite one or two minor puzzlements, I do declare that the man is overwhelmingly guilty. Modern, metropolitan, and rational logic, wouldn't you say? Overwhelming. But us modern gals are always delighted to embrace new fads, you know? So I'd be too happy to consider an exciting new theory if you'd come up with one. I'd be happy to do that, if only I could. Let's do our very best not to disappoint the modern and metropolitan young lady. Right. I'm glad you admitted rational there. Alright, what do you guys say? Even if the woman was throwing books, it can't be related to this case if the window was closed, can it? But what about the possibility that the window was open? What about it? I mean, there's just no way it could have been. How could you be so sure? Prosecution fellow over there said it earlier, didn't he? Winter in London's no joke. You don't want to invite that sort of cold indoors. So no, that window wasn't open. As the Londoners like sitting by the fire and staying warm, you see? But you couldn't categorically state that the window wasn't open, could you? It just wasn't. They wouldn't have opened it. And what's the point even to have windows, huh? Okay, come on. The smoke in the room. Where else are you gonna get rid of that? Oh, sorry. Somehow I need to show there's an undeniable possibility the window's open. I think the last person, or one of the upcoming ones. This woman doesn't seem like she's gonna help us right now. Hear me, it was only a little book, hardly life-threatening even with a direct hit. But the little book was on fire at the time, was it not? With flames of love, I'll have you know. There's really no such thing as a loving incendiary bomb. Why is she smacking him? Well, he brought it upon himself. It's playing with fire to betray a fiery love, isn't it? Well, don't you agree? Well, any kind of betrayal is certainly a bad thing, yes. But I think the argument might have been risen out of your misunderstanding, Miss Garrett. Okay, she just keeps smacking that guy. Never you mind that. The point is, we were just having a jovial little dispute, nothing more. And I won't have any more of these suggestions that it was anything whatsoever to do with this crime. She just keeps smacking him. He doesn't seem to be turning a hair at Mrs. Garrett's relentless onslaught. It's almost as though he's used to it. What a gentle soul he is. Oh no. A little glimpse into his home life. Look, I just want to get this over with. If I don't bring up some pay tonight, I'll be tearing up trouble. Look, you gotta tell us something other than that. You just want to get this over with? Okay, but I sit there and say something like that. A man's future is at stake here. Well, him and me both, like I said before. What? I told you already. I'm a day laborer outside. If I don't bring home some ladies with me tonight, you'll find me floating face down in the Thames tomorrow morning. What? You heard me? My missus isn't one to mess about. You know she can be fierce, believe me. Another shining example of marital bliss, then. The situation like this cropped up on the other day. It was, well, do you know, it's funny, but I can't quite remember. Sorry? It was too frightening that the thing, I must have blocked it out. Helpful. I wonder if Sir Beat will ever be dragged into Thames by his skirt. Don't even go there, Mr. Sato. There must be some way to jog his memory about this. Alright, how about you? Come on, Cigarette. We had a fire at home a while ago. It gave me the sneezes.
Hold it!
Does that have anything to do with your decision about the defense culpability of this case? Sorry, what was that? You'll have to speak up loud. Can you tell us more about that fire? It was last winter my grandchildren baked me a lovely cake on the birthday. It had 75 candles on top, it did, but a sight to behold. You can put candles on a cake? Was it some kind of devil worship? Of course not. It was an angel cake to celebrate my birthday, obviously. Seems that a common custom here in Great Britain, Mr. Naruto. Anyway, I must have all my puffs to blow them out. Only I must have blown wrong somehow. The flames didn't go out, but the candles went flying all over the room. The furniture caught up, everything went up, and the whole place filled with smoke. Definitely sounds like devil worship to me. And by the sneezes, I'm assuming you mean a cold? And how did you catch a cold from the fire? What a fiasco it was. The grandchildren blossomed, threw water over me as I tried to put out the fire. But then, because the whole room had filled with smoke, of course, we had to open all the windows to clear it out. The windows? The writing went to a rush over me like the devil, dancing on my grave it did. I caught a terrible cold from it. It put me in the hospital for a while. I won't forget that butcher in a hurry. I knew it was devil worship all along. Something about this old man's story is playing on my mind somehow. Alright, we pressed everyone. We should be having little details. We need to demonstrate who, apart from Mr. Natsume, could have attacked the young woman on the street, as well as how he or she could have done it. Yes, but once again, the juror statements are full of personal prejudice. Because I have hiccups. A lot of them seem convinced that they're right, even in the face of logical arguments on the contrary. I think you're going to need to put them against each other. Oh gosh, my hiccups. Yes. I don't necessarily find the contradiction between these assertions, as a connection might do. Alright, I'll see what I can do. If anything stands out, I'll go in for a strike. That's the spirit. Alright, so the keys left behind evidence is seen. Alright. You're not going to be any help to us, I feel. Alright, well, we don't have any way for her yet. Alright, we can pit this guy against the old man. Oh, good, my hiccups. I'm like pausing between each talk. These two juror statements are clearly contradict one another. They do? How exactly, counsel? Don't point at me again. I told you it wasn't me. Hold on. Why does that guy keep saying it wasn't him? I have a feeling he might have done it. Juror number 3, do you see? Oh, me, you see what, sir? Did you hear juror number 6 account on his birthday celebration last year? You see, despite being a Londoner, he once opened his windows in the middle of winter. Well, of course, it's because it was an emergency. I mean, obviously, if the room was filled with smoke from fire, then you'd be mad not to open the... Oh, guess that was a hiccup. I'm so sorry, everybody. Oh! Exactly. On the day in question at the time of the incident, there was a fire in the Garridib's house. And Mr. Garridib had the following to say about that. The whole place filled with smoke.
Oh my.
Oh, my hat. Oh, she has something to say. Finally.
Excuse me.
Oh my god, so sorry for my hiccups, everybody. Juror number 4, do you have something to say about that? Look, she's chugging that tea. Mrs. Garrison. Oh, dearie me. What's the meaning of this? How do you play it? I'm hiding who I really am. It's imperative that you confirm something for the court. So please, it's time to drop the pretense now. What is it? When the fire started in the house that day, did you or your husband open the window? I beg your pardon? What are you trying to insinuate? The room would have been thick with smoke after the carpet and bookcase caught on fire. In a situation like that, it is inconceivable that you wouldn't have opened the window. And what if we did? Oh, all right then, yes, you're right. The peasant was frankly trying to open the window, which can't have been easy since I continued to give him a justly deserved brick battering. Even though your house was on fire? Oh, you never stop throwing until your anger subsides. It would be terribly bad for the nerves to do otherwise. Of course, I should have realized. That's a significant step forward, Mr. Naruto. You managed to establish that the window was open. You simply must have added to Mr. Garrett's formal statement. Now you mention it, yes, the window was open at the time. I've forgotten, it's true. Oh, we can still pit people against each other.
Hold it!
The fourth book found at the scene of the crime shows very obvious signs of fire damage. The title of the book is The Lion's Pride. The same title, in fact, as the book that Mr. Garrett told us he had been reading. I really couldn't say. On the day in question, did you or did you not throw it at your husband? The copy of The Lion's Pride that he has been reading. I did. It was the first thing I could lay my hands on, so I hurled straight at him. Now that you come to mention it, he was rather enjoying reading it, you're right. Why did you not reveal this information to the court from the outset? Because I couldn't, you insolent little man, I didn't remember. Times like that, you pick up and throw whatever you can lay your hands on. I don't really. I barely noticed I was throwing a book, much less the title of it. Oh. Ah, more? Oh, goodness, hiccups. More things are showing up.
Excuse me.
What is it, Drew number 5? You know something? You know something? I remember what it was, the memory I blocked out. I was listening to what this granny was saying, brought it all flooding back. Just who are you calling granny, you cheeky devil? I'm Mr. Garrett, or the maid, I'll have you know. The man doesn't even flinch. Please tell me that's not because he's so used to being hit all the time. It was about 2 weeks ago now. I just got back home after work I put my hands in my pocket for the wages I just earned that day, and I nearly died. There was a hole, every last penny that dropped. Oh dear, what a disaster. You hadn't heard the half of it, boy. Oh. The wife was cutting up some chicken at the time. I could hardly get the words out, but I told her straight. I've lost a day's wages, love. Next thing I knew, the blade was whistling past my ear. Stuck in the wall next to me, it did. About an inch deep. I'm so sorry for my hiccups. No words, just terror. Oh goodness. Please, someone save me. Alright, you know what? I'm gonna have to end this part here, sadly. No, we're gonna end the part after this guy says point. It would be really very weird to end it there. I could smell it then, you know, that awful stench of veins. I was sure I was going to end up face down in the muddy banks that night, I didn't tell you. Now, that's a real disaster, isn't it? I'll never use the word lightly again. Anyway, the point I'm trying to make is this. When women lose their rag, they'll throw anything at you. Knives, hatchets, hammers, you name it. Mr. Naruto, you mustn't think that the women are all so short-tempered and undefined. No, I wasn't thinking that. Throwing household objects at that? Well, it's so uncivilized. At least attack with honor like a bow or like... What? Attack? Who are you going to attack? Never mind. Anyway, the man's words could be rather significant, I think. Alright, we'll come back to the bow and arrow thing later, if I dare. Alright, yeah, we're gonna stop this part here. My hiccups are making this pretty unbearable. Oh goodness, that was one big one. Alright, so thank you all so much for watching. Remember to like, comment, share, subscribe, and until then... Oh goodness, I'm so sorry. I will see you all later. Goodbye!